Hey, did you miss me? That's the first thing I have to say out my mouth. Because I missed y'all. Okay. I like legit mean that. Like with all of my heart. No, not at the bottom of my heart. Nobody not behind no chest hair. I mean, I don't really think I have it. Whatever. Um, but seriously, with all of my heart, I really missed y'all. Like for real, I was going through some things without y'all. Like a little bit. I'm not gonna get emotional tonight. You're not gonna catch that now, that third tear. You're not gonna catch that tonight. But the question really is, did you miss me? Because I got things to talk about. So I hope you are ready. And if you're not, go and get ready, okay? Because it's another episode of the B Mix right here on BeExposedRadio.com. You know, the only place to be on a Thursday night at 8 o'clock p.m. So welcome and welcome back. Okay, so all of those that have been with me before, I thoroughly missed you. And welcome to any of you that may be tuning in for the first time. Welcome to the space where, baby, you're welcome. Okay, just the space where we welcome you with arms open wide, right? Because it is for the B Mix show is for everybody. Because me, I just, I've been through it all. I'm going through it all. Probably finna go through it all, things like that. So it's for the unheard, the unseen, the muted, the forgotten, whether it be the forgotten part of you or for the person that just doesn't belong anywhere. The me. So welcome. Hey, Chris. Missed you. So here's the thing, y'all. We need to get into some stuff tonight, y'all. We do. We just can we please? Can we do that? Is that okay? Is that okay? Because we're gonna get into it tonight regardless. But we need to get into some things. So first and foremost, I really, really hope that each of you, especially to my veteran viewers, but seriously to anybody watching tonight or anybody that's going to catch the show afterward, I really hope you enjoyed a very happy and safe. I'll say last Thursday, because some of you do not recognize the holiday of Thanksgiving, and I respect it. So I really hope you enjoyed the time of last week, last Thursday, the time that is set aside here in America, okay, to recognize the concept of thanks and giving. Now we know, the real story behind it all. How why people cousins went ahead and did their thing here as usual, ruining people's livelihood, but never to defeat us. So that's neither here nor there. I had to get that one up off my chest. Now why? Because on Tab said that's my business. Speaking of my business, real quick. Mind your business if y'all see cat hair all up on my shirt, because I'm telling you right now, first of all, I don't know what made me take my shirt off, but whatever. I don't know. Today, y'all know usually in the past episodes, I didn't say that I almost gave y'all loose tits. I almost came down here without, hey, Nina, I love to see it. She said, I see you client. Period, y'all. Sis is working, okay? Just be very clear about that. Don't worry about it, baby. I'm glad you're going to catch it later. Thank you. But yeah, listen, working on it here. Listen, y'all, ain't nothing like having somebody in your corner and on your team to tell you things like keep developing that brand. Y'all don't even know what that mean yet, but baby, you soon find out. I promise, guarantee soon to find out. But I'm excited, so I gotta calm down. Nina always get me hyped, y'all. So back to telling y'all about minding your business. So what I did was, like I said, in the past weeks, I always used to come, I came down here a couple times and said that I was going to come down here, give y'all loose tip because I didn't really feel like snapping on a bra, whatever. You got to snap, you got to twist it around. I don't feel like doing it every week. It's a lot. My day to put on clothes is Sundays. I go to church. So y'all getting from me. I don't know when that's going to change, and quite frankly, I'm okay with it. But um, so today it was not a problem. It was really because I ran out earlier. I had to run my mama somewhere. Don't worry about that. So I really already had one anyway. But for whatever reason, I took my shirt off earlier. You know, my black shirt, and I tossed it. I didn't think. Lo and behold, I done went upstairs right before the show to throw my shirt back on, and the cat is laid across it. Okay, I'm talking about laid prostrate. Okay, not before the Lord, just all across my shirt. Okay, I ain't got time for him. Makes me sick. So again, not to mention, you know, my scalp a little dry, so I'll catch some flakes and some dandruff. Not your business. I'm gonna get my hair done soon. Don't worry about that. The point is, I'm here. Okay, I am present. I acknowledge my own presence. And I'm right here with you. And hopefully you're right here with me and not judging me. All right, I'm done. So y'all know I always got to ease y'all into when I'm finna fuss, right? I don't think I'm finna fuss tonight. I don't think so. But like I said, we are gonna get into some things. Here's the thing. If we had a met, right? If we had a talk, if we had to come together last Thursday, which was, like I said, on Thanksgiving, I really would have, it wouldn't have been, in my opinion, it wouldn't have been the typical, like, you know, what are you thankful for? You know, and then that's not to call it typical as in to demean it, right? To undervalue it or to invalidate that, you know, that question, that sentiment, because it's very important, right? But I wasn't so concerned, and I'm not so concerned with what you're thankful for now, because we've talked about that before. That's the thing. Now, I hope that list is growing and continues to grow. But what I'm most curious to know, curious to know, I won't put it no other way. What I'm most curious to know is, what are you thankful for that you are not? Like that? You're like that little twist, that little spin up on it. You like that? Don't worry about it. Why? It's the D-Mix. What do you think? Okay. What are you thankful for that you did not become? What are you thankful for that you have not received, that you did not receive? Whether if it was that particular thing, that particular ask, that particular, inquiry, and that particular request, that, you know, particular thing that you had in mind. And maybe it was just at that time. What is it that comes to mind when you're like, I'm glad I didn't get that, man. I'm glad this ain't happened. I'm glad I wasn't in that situation. That should bring on a level, I think the next level of Thanksgiving, right? In the season, as we transition from the season of Thanksgiving more into the season of giving, right? What I did there? What is it that, you know, when we reflect, because I'm gonna always go to that, you know, we're gonna always talk about self-reflection. Please don't ever think, do not ever think that it is okay to go a day without reflecting on self. It's never okay not to reflect on oneself. Never. You should do it every day, multiple times throughout the day, consistently, constantly, all throughout the day. You should be reflecting on self. That is why they say for believers, pray without ceasing. Continuously, you are praying to God and you are talking to him. You are seeking guidance from him. You are laying, you know, your burdens down at his feet. You are casting all of your worries on him, because it's like, Lord, listen, I just realized I thought something real dumb earlier, and it was dumb, right? Like, you need to be reflecting on self. That's how you keep yourself in line, keep yourself in check. Y'all always talk about, you know, who finna check me? That, I ain't gonna lie. Low key, when I was really into like watching like the what y'all call it, Ratchet TV. When I was really into watching it, my favorite quote from all of the episodes or all of the little seasons or whatever that I watch, of different ones, the New York and them, and then the down south, bout it, Atlanta's and them and all that. My favorite was, I don't even know who's that. All I know is sis said, who gonna check me, boo? Like, you can leave the boo out, but who gonna check me? That used to be my favorite thing. Like, I don't know. But that's our sentiment, like in general. Generally speaking, that's usually all of our sentiment. We feel like, who gonna check me? Who want this? Okay, listen. The thing is, if that is your sentiment, because the reason why I said it, one, because it was in a joking way, because I didn't really, talk to people like that, like, and mean it, right? It was always in a joking manner. So I don't know why I keep trying to pin this head back like these long. Y'all forgive me. Anybody get shorter because I'm really about to, again, about to get my hair done. So now, given when I say my hair done, don't expect that. It'll be at some time, probably for Christmas. I don't know. Mind your business. So, like, it's about when you say who gonna check me, it's the other side of it. So again, I would say it because I meant because I'm always working on self. So it's like a, jokingly like, who gonna check me? Then in my mind, I would think that second half of it, which is what we need to bring forth and put more effort and more light, shine more light behind, right? Which is who gonna check me because I'm checking myself. That's the thing. I'm checking myself so much. Like I check myself constantly. Now given. That does not mean I'm not promoting that to be your everyday, all the time, thought process as far as who gonna check me, right? But it needs to be more so of in a humble way, if possible, right? Of who's gonna check me because I'm always checking myself. But if it, so that means because you're always checking yourself, if someone brings up something that can help you, that you should only be surrounding yourself by people that are going to suggest things that would help you, not hurt you or harm you, right? Then that means that there's something to notice. So that's still keeping an open mind that as you self-reflect and try to self-correct so much and all the time, there's still something that somebody can add to it. So I know that sounds like it contradicts itself, but that's why we all got to get to a place where we can receive it, because that makes perfect sense to me. I'll be honest, makes perfect sense to me. And it's not just because I said it. It's not just because I said it could be like mostly, if you think of like percentages, it's probably like a good, I want to say 76%. The point is, it makes sense to me, right? And I'm being very honest about that. But it actually makes sense too. That's I can separate that, right? And so again, transitioning from one season to the next, not just spring, summer, winter, and fall, but like I said, from one season of Thanksgiving to giving, how do we put into perspective of the things that you reflect on that you are grateful or thankful that you are not, or that did not happen to you, or that you did not have, that you might have asked for, right? So it can go two ways. How do you turn that into a gift? How do you pay that lesson forward? Like I've mentioned to you before, it's baby, let me add a head in my way. I've been I've been married to my daughter's father way before we even conceived my daughter, right? Y'all don't even know, but that's enough. Like, whoo, shot. Do you remember that thing? It's enough to even have the child with you. Moving on, but I've been like tied to this man. Okay, it could mean, I'm sure, I don't know though, because of how stuck I was beforehand, right? Of just even of all the things that happened before then. By by 25, I was really married to him, and I would have been tied to him. So what I have, if I was married, if all went well, we got engaged at like the age of 19. Ugh. Sorry, y'all. Ugh. All right, I'm sorry. I got myself together. But we got married, we got engaged at the age of 19, and we would have been married at 25. And what I have gotten to a place where I am now to be able to reflect on so much about it. So not just to put it all on him, which is mostly, but to realize some of my doing in it, right? Even with, this good heart and all of that, would I have been able to recognize that back then in order to, if we had actually gotten married, I know for sure that means we wouldn't need to have gotten divorced. I can say that. Now, let me tell you why that's a big statement for me to make. Because y'all know I ain't finna judge people anyway. I'm absolutely not judging any of you or anyone that has been divorced. I'm not even judging the person that's considering divorce, right? It is a big D word to me, though, for me, right? This is why I say, let me pause here and say that revisit the fact that we've talked about on the show before how we need to get to a place as a people, as all people, but definitely as a people, as a skin folk, kinfolk people, right? Black folk, that we have to get to a place where if I say something that's relative to me, that matters to me, that's significant to me, it does not, first of all, I have to not mean it to be this way, but also it doesn't mean like from you receiving it, right? And you're perceiving it and receiving it, right? And your perception of it, it does not mean that I am belittling or overshadowing anything about you. So if I make a statement and say that divorce is not for me, I don't, the way I usually put it is, I don't believe in divorce for myself. Okay. To me, the way I've said it, it caps it for me. The Nancy Ever Helena Richardson. Me. I don't mean it for someone out there that, like, again, that they have already, if they've been through divorce, if they are experiencing it right now, unfortunately, if they are considering it right now, unfortunately, I don't mean it to hurt, to trigger, to attack, right? So we have to get away from that. We have to. It is the choice. Here I go. We're going through review again. It is the blessing in the choice to let it go. In that very moment when you decide to say, you know what? I ain't about to worry about, how y'all love to say with attitude. I ain't about to worry about that little girl. Now I'm about to worry about that nigga. Okay, however you got to put it, even if it's with a little attitude, and then we'll grow to get to a place of where we can let it go happily. I'll let things go happily, truthfully. Not even gonna lie. Now, remember I said before, there's a lot of review tonight. Like I'm teaching a class. But I've said before, just because it's a simple answer, a simple solution doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy to do. So me letting something go, letting someone go out of my life hasn't necessarily been easy. It's definitely the simple solution. Let people just walk on by. Listen, get on up out of here, okay? And the beauty is that I haven't had to experience this in so long. Yeah, time escapes me. But to me, it's been so long, so it doesn't matter. But we have to get to a place where, like I said, you can receive something that someone is saying, because we really have to do. I don't know who they could possibly be calling. I'm so sorry, y'all. No one calls me. Let me tell you, here's another side note, because I know I'm over the place. I get it. But y'all forgive me. But I just want to say my phone is very, very dry. Listen, I'm getting to this comment in a second. My phone is very, very, very dry. Okay. Very dry, so much so that the only reason I consider like continuing to pay the bill monthly is because I don't. There's really not a real reason, y'all, now that I'm thinking about it. But literally, the only phone calls I receive are the warranty people. We've been trying to contact you for a warranty, and then they got me first. I'm like, you were trying to contact me? How? I didn't fall for nothing else. Too bad. But then the text messages when my phone is the text thing goes off. It's I don't know, the 90% off of this or something. And I open them just to make sure. And I still got all the unread messages still, and that's like real messages. But y'all, is anybody else going through that? Moving on. I'm gonna actually revisit that in a second. I want to acknowledge a comment. Thank you, Shola. You are thankful that you are not bitter. Girl, I received that. I received that in the atmosphere for you. Like, I am grateful that you acknowledge that for yourself, that you recognize that, and that clearly there's work that you have put in to be sure that you are able to even make this statement, right? Because it's a truthful statement. I'm so very proud of you. And I acknowledge it. And sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean that when we make these profound statements, because they are profound, when you make these affirmations of yourself with these, realizations of yourself, you you're doing just that. You're affirming your work that you've put in. But it doesn't necessarily mean, because we have to make sure that we're not doing it. We're not doing the work to, you ever like get out of a relationship and be like, oh yeah, of course, even when we think that we done grown up a little bit. So there was the younger us or the immature us that, got out of a relationship and might have, wanted to make somebody jealous or something like that and blah, 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 blah. But then when you get older, you feel like, oh, I'm doing it better. I'm doing it right. And then you learn after that nope, that still wasn't right. So then the more mature gets out of a relationship or another relationship, and then you're like, I'm gonna take all this advice, everything in the atmosphere, everything in the universe, and all that is telling me to work on self. So I'm gonna work on self because he's gonna see that I'm a better person. That's still wrong. That's still wrong. So what I'm saying is that when we make these affirmations over self in our self-reflection, that it's important that we don't just make these statements, for somebody else's, recognition. But the reason why I think it's important to say to someone once they, make a statement like that, I think it's important to just acknowledge, like acknowledgement is such a big thing to me. Just to acknowledge that, knowing, like being someone else that has been through, stuff and has had to work for my own peace and to maintain sanity and all of that. It's important to hear that, but we just have to make sure we're not doing it for that. But like twofold, like right in the same moment. So it's like right there, like with a split, that it's okay to recognize or to acknowledge somebody else's, affirmation of the work that they've put in. So I absolutely acknowledge the fact, Shola, that you are thankful that you're not bitter. That's important because all you think of it is there's one less person in the world that has gone through stuff that they probably have all right to be bitter, right? But has done the work to be sure that they are not. That's important. One person at a time, y'all. Each one teach one, reach one, breach one. I don't know. Each one preach. I love rhyming words, but sometimes they escape me. I digress. So my question also is, how do you encourage someone when all hope is lost? And now that could be twofold. That could be for you. That could also be for the person that, you feel moved to encourage. You are in the same space as them, right? So hold on, because we know what the beat on. We know on the beat mix, it's not to leave anybody out. Here's why I say this before I say my next thing. So I always found myself like in some type of assembly or meeting, big, large meeting or something like that. And people make these statements of like, because if you're the person that been lost all hope or this or that, and you're like, I haven't really lost all hope. Like that's not really me. Like that doesn't relate to me at all. I kind of tune out. By nature, you would tune out because you feel like it's not related to you. And so not to leave anyone out, right? So not even just how do you encourage someone who has lost all hope, but how do you encourage someone, I don't know, that hasn't lost all hope, but maybe their hope meter is wearing thin, right? Have you ever seen a traffic light, right? Duh. Let me finish before you go. So you see the traffic light far ahead of you. Enough road is there that you could possibly make this green light. Or there's enough road to where if you don't drive it just right, you might catch the yellow or red, right? Get caught at the light. And so you decide, like you drive it, and you're like, okay, I see it. I mean, okay, now I could choose to speed up, but I think I'm okay where I am, right? And then you're like, all right, I probably could make it. So then now turned on your hope. Your hope meter is in the green now, going, and it was in the positive. And so then you getting just up to it where you could make that light, and then it turn yellow, and then boom, immediately it's red. And yellow ain't long. We know that. Especially in Baltimore. I don't, I don't know what's going on. It's like orange. I don't even, it's just like blue, orange, red. Like just because the yellow is passing, but if the yellow is equivalent, I'm gonna let it go, y'all. I'm gonna let it go, I promise. But the yellow is equivalent to when these people dropping off these packages and they done knocked on your door, and by the time you open the door immediately, yet as soon as you open the door and they just knocked on the door or just rang the bell or something, they already at the end of your gate, down at the end of your driveway or something. Like what? How y'all do that? They already in the car pulling in the truck pulling off. How? Anyway, so that's the appropriate example of the yellow light here. In Baltimore, at least. If your yellow light is longer, please let me know. But so you now realize that you turned your hope was in catching the light, right? Was in making that green light. You didn't have that hope at first, you just didn't think about it at all, or maybe you just had no faith at all, right? So either one. And so then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I possibly could make it. Let me either speed up a little bit or, ooh, let me just think about it. I'm going to be the little engine that could. And then, it's cut off. Like you had a halt. So the hope that you just had in something, you lose it for whatever reason. You lose that thing, right? How do you encourage someone like that just decided to start to hope, just began hoping right before COVID started? Somebody that just knew for sure that it was their time to get back out there and dating. And then we're all forced to stay in the house. I'm not listening, I'm sorry. And then we're all forced to stay in the house. How do you encourage the person that just said, you know what, I believe that I'm gonna start going to church more, right? Because there are people out there like that. And then COVID, it's like, well, right? So how do we turn our thing? We're thankful. We're thankful for the things that we are not, that we did not become, that we probably had every right to become, or wanted so badly, right? So the things that we were asking for and didn't get. How do we turn that lesson in that into a gift, right? To pay it forward. How do we give the gift of hope when our own faith may be weary? How do we do that? Anybody? Any takers? Anything come to mind? Okay. B-Mix tip of the week. Breaking. Okay, sorry. I'm goofy tonight, y'all. Y'all forgive me. If anybody has seen, like on my personal page, if anybody has seen my story, you can clearly see that I've been in the goofy mode. I don't know what's up with me. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful for it. Okay. B tip of the week, y'all. Now don't y'all go now. Just take this one and put this one in your pocket. Don't really go spreading this one, like as in telling the world, because it's gonna mess you up. Okay. B tip of the week is when you think of, or for those of you that are in a relationship, I ain't really talking to the situationships, I'm talking about the relationship. Married, engaged, there are a lot of engagements happening, very happy about that. Congratulations to all of y'all. So excited. I'll be so happy, y'all. I'll be so happy. I'll be so happy. Okay, moving on. But so like relationships, y'all living together. There are those relationships. There are, the ones where, they're promising, the ones that are healthy, the ones that are fostering growth for the both of you, as well as your soon to be union, just all of that. Those, right? Again, not situationships. So, when you think of your significant other, do you reach out to them? Okay, well, just wondering, just putting it out there. For those of us that either have suffered from, or even if you haven't, if you have ever been faced with, right? Because it doesn't necessarily mean you suffered from it in the past, but everyone living and breathing will be at some point in time tempted by something, right? So to leave that very vague. But to bring it closer to home, that say if, while you're in a relationship, you are tempted, you're at work, there's somebody that's, really pretty, really beautiful, very handsome, fine, like fine. And it really could be just as simple as that they, always speak to you. So they could be into you or not. They could see your wedding ring or the fact that you don't have one, so they don't know. Or you could have brought up, your significant other, or you could not have just because it just hasn't, like you probably haven't even interacted with this person, right? In the way of which it will come up. Who knows? Right. So either way, if they either know that there's someone there or they do not because you're trying to keep it from them and being sneaky. Maybe I'm talking to the real relationship ease. Okay. But there's this fine person at work. And so they speak to you. You can tell it's might be a little extra here and there sometimes. Okay, hey, all right then there, all right now. Okay, so okay, bro. You ready for the tip? If y'all don't text your significant other when that happens and thank me later, that's good. I'm telling you it's good. I guarantee you it's good. I know, right? I'm the single friend that's giving you it doesn't matter. Okay. Just know I've been in a relationship at some point in life. Okay. Even more than one. I've had 3 of them. That's big. Wow. Okay, I'm 33 relationships. Go me. Judge your mother. But at some point they were going, well, not really. On my end, it does. The point is, I'm the single friend that can give advice because I can, because I'm wise. I don't know. I wasn't wise in my own situations, but everybody else, I'm pretty good. The point being, right? Because if we can do that, if it's no, not if we can do that. If it's hard to do that, because even if that wasn't groundbreaking advice for you, how often do you do it? How often do you talk to your significant other? Not just about, responsibilities, or if you have children together, or, like I said, responsibilities or bills, or, logistics, who's going to pick up this shot, or who's washing the mask tonight. How often, and I mean, when you're apart, when you're in places in which you probably, would not be thinking of one another, right? How often do you not check in, because I don't want to use that word because that's different, but how often do you connect and communicate and correspond with your significant other, right? When it's really not, known, or you're not prone to. Like I said, when you're at work, you might be the only person out of your relationship that goes to, or out of your household that goes to church. So if you're at church and, but I don't know, the fine brother, first time visitor song just stood up. You're like, God, boy, fine, Jesus, now, come on. Yeah, you catch yourself real quick. Boom, text your man. Okay. This is free game, y'all. I'm trying to tell you. And just text him something. It doesn't have to be raunchy. I would take it so far that it's not even, let that be another time where, you kind of send something like, hey, what's up, girl? Don't do that. Just send something like, you are so handsome. Like, pump your man up, sir. Bruh, pump your man up. Pump your girl up. Y'all already know we need that. Listen, dear future husband, baby, pump me up. I love that. Okay. Okay. Thank you. From me to you. Okay. Because fellas, please don't act surprised. Absolutely pump our heads up. For sure. And it doesn't even have to be about the things that you think. Don't do the most and be like, baby, your gut ain't look that big in that last picture you took and put on IG. You now, you're doing a lot. Right? You're doing a lot, because now I'm trying to figure out if my gut in the other picture before, like, what you think of my gut, like, why you now? It don't even mean insecurities necessarily. It could be, but whatever. Right? So don't do the most. Okay? Just simply tell me I'm beautiful. Baby, you look real pretty when you was waking up this morning, wiping the drool off the side of your mouth. Oh my God, Stan. Thank you. Like, that's it. You say that when, this big butt girl done walked on by and, I believe I got the biggest, romp, and I don't. Just do things like that, right? Just small things that matters, okay? Don't tell me that I ain't never told you nothing golden. That's a good statement. I might coin that one. Nina, Might have to coin that. Anywho, I digress because I always go on. So, in the same token, right? If we're talking about if we find it hard to, or we reflect, again, self-reflecting on the fact that, we may not necessarily do that as often as we want to believe that we do. That's just like the people, I promise I'm not going to go any more tangents, but I'm going to try not to. That's the promise. Try. That's just like the people that are like, oh, I'm not here for things. Oh, Lord, I'm going to say Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day, yada, 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 right? Holiday to set aside to, pour the love on, especially if you're in a relationship, yada, yada, type thing. I think it's a beautiful thing. Am I completely brainwashed by all of the, holidays that we have in America? Not necessarily. And I say not necessarily because I don't mind them, because it is simply the way I see it, simply a time set aside for, with this particular, concept in mind. So Valentine's Day, we all mean, oh, that's when you love on people. Okay. Now, given I hear y'all, oh, we're supposed to love each other every day. You don't. You don't. Not to the extent of what you want to. And realistically, I kind of don't want you, like when we talk about, Valentine's Day, usually, again, it's usually monetary gifts or some type of way of showing that probably didn't cost, $1 or two. So it's a couple pennies, sure. I don't want you spending that much money on me every day. I want you spending that much attention. But then I also want you spending that realistically. I want you spending a lot of attention on your craft, on your ministry, your businesses, and all of that, and yourself, first and foremost, pouring into yourself, taking care of your spirit, man, so that way you can be a strong, man inside and out for me, and inside and out for our household, for our family, for our children, oof, that whole everyday thing, I cringe at that. Like, as much as a lover as I am, like, no. So if we find ourselves, not necessarily pouring out into even our significant others, we damn sure not pouring out into all the other people out in the world that we should be. Please stop thinking that it's not our obligation to pour into other people. I said it. Okay? Yeah, I said it. So in the same token, if we're talking about building your legacy, your brands, yourself, by simply pouring into you, when you catch yourself, pouring into, outside factors like work, right? So when you feel yourself, here's another tip, right? I'm giving you all a few of them tonight. When you feel yourself, and now these are from our entrepreneurs, but anybody that is really looking into branching into your own, whether it be soon or, sometime down the road, right? Start practicing now, especially if it's not going to be right away. That's either way, actually, especially if it is going to be right away, like you're behind. But I said, especially for if you're not, looking into delving into your own just yet, because it's right now, it's a beautiful time to just build practice and good habit that you'll have. So that way it really comes to you a lot easier when you so decide, when the time is right, when, God willing, all of that. Right. And so for any of you that, plan to, or I guess that have already, right? But definitely for those of you that plan to get into your own business, own way, own lane, right? As much time as you find yourself, because yes, people, entrepreneurs, not everybody jumps out. Their leap of faith is not always equivalent to, quitting immediately, like quitting their 9 to 5. There are a lot of, and I mean a whole lot of entrepreneurs out here that still work a 9 to 5, or whatever, still work like like somebody else is signing their paycheck for them, right? And that's okay. I want to be very clear. Look at me, hey, right here. Look at me in my 4. That's okay. Okay. So when you are, doing that, when you're juggling, and you are, obviously you're obligated to pour into, this 9 to 5, or, your means of income, because it's necessary. Yeah, right? Necessary. Do not And I mean, do not find yourself not. And I know we've seen this on social media somewhere, some memes and stuff like that, but it is very, very, it is vital that you get this. Do not find yourself giving more time to that source of income than the energy that you put forth for your own, right? So here's the thing though, that includes yourself, okay? Because I know it's like, well, wait a minute, you mean I got to work a 9 to 5, so that's 8 hours out of the day. I got to sleep at some point. Ugh, got to bathe. I got to, brush my tooth. I got the kids if I got kids, my niece and nephew if I don't get my parents, my family, my cat, dog, the bird, the hamster. Like I got to work out at some point because like. I got to eat. Oh my Lord, what you mean pour into myself as much as or more than I'm pouring into my 9 to 5? Girl, what you talking? Listen, okay. First of all, breathe. Good. Okay. Does that feel good? I'm proud of you. So it includes this work, the self-work. So it includes making sure that you ate a well-balanced, healthy meal, right? And especially when you self-reflect, I'm driving at home tonight. When you self-reflect and realize, okay, dang, I usually skip dinner because I just feel over it by the time I go by. At least I ate lunch at work or right? And I know this is probably pre-COVID, but think about, we might get into the next week. Oh, that's good. Habits, pre, during, and planning for post-COVID. Ooh, y'all, somebody write that down. That's good. Ooh. That just came to me. Thank you, Lord. That's good. He'll talk to you. He'll talk to you in the midst of, baby. Because for those of us that, might have had some habits, good and bad, before COVID, what do they look like now? Oh, y'all, I got to get away from that. Because we're going to get to that next week. Yeah, we're going to get to that next week. Why? Because please be reminded in all the review that we've done tonight that I said, a couple weeks ago now that we were working on a prosperity plan. That's why I'm bringing this home about the fact that, putting not even this, I want to say the same or really more energy into yourself, into your stuff, right? Than what you give to someone else's company, right? It includes the stuff that you're doing for your inner self. When you're talking about prosperity and all that, we're not talking about materialistic things. I said that. That will come. The work that you're doing on your inner self, the outside things will come. Okay, you go to bathe and wash your skin. You know that you're going to put clothes on. Clothes are coming. You don't have to worry. If you got the option and you're blessed with being able to pick and decide what you're going to put on your skin, but you have to take care of that skin, right? Take care of that inner self. And when you go out into the world, that is the most inner thing, to the world is your bare skin, right? Birthday suit. Amen. So how do you, I got questions for y'all for real tonight, don't I? Told y'all we had stuff to talk about now. I ain't playing. How do you take care of yourself? How do you do that? What do you think that you're doing right now that's taking care of you? Give me a second to think about it. What do you think that you're doing right now to take care of you that that will or can lead to your goals? What's on that prosperity plan, right? Your goals, and of course, okay, I know they say goals in life and all that, but just make short-term goals. What is it? And I find myself torn. I find myself torn when people talk against, New Year's resolutions and this, that, and the third. I hear y'all, I get it, right? Because that's even recently, I was gifted a book about a year walk with God, a devotional book. And so I told myself immediately, I saw it, I was like, oh my God, I love this. Oh my gosh, this is going to be so cute, so good. And I'm going to start at January 1. So I get it. In that sense, sure, why not? So once I had that, I gave the same look I just gave you, I gave to myself. And then I decided to start it now. So since then, I've been doing it, right? So I'm torn because sometimes that's what somebody needs. But I think the compromise about, I guess, talking against, right, the New Year's resolution and don't wait till the new year to change this if you've decided something now and all of that. then you decide to, say that I'm going to put in the work leading up to. So if I've decided at the end of like now, right? So today, now November has closed. We're in the last month of the year, right? So we're in a brand new month, but then it is the last month. This is a place to be. That's why we have to really guard ourselves right now, right? And as I'm talking, y'all feel free to call me. Call me up, 443-642-9403. You can call or text that number again, 443-642-9403, to talk back to me. Let me know what's going on, right? Because I'm posing a lot of questions tonight. I am. Um, Even when you catch the replay and all of that, as y'all continue to watch this and turn on your notifications for the B Mix every Thursday right here on BeExposedRadio.com at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? You turn on your notifications and you like and you reshare, you share and repost the show every week. But so as someone else, as if you're watching this later on, right, watching the replay, I still want you to comment and to answer these questions. I don't want it to be that, oh no, I'm catching this later and I hear the questions. I want you doing the work. So if you're writing it down in a book or something at home, sure, but share them too. But for now, while we're live, call me 443-642-9403. And, let's continue to talk about how we are figuring out how we, what we do to pour into ourselves that we know will and is supposed to guide and lead us to the goals that we're setting, right? Because as we're going into the new year, again, we are in a brand new month, but in the last month of the year, of a very trying year. Excuse me, I think it's very trying, truthfully, because everybody can relate to it. Isn't that crazy? It's something that everybody can relate to. Yet, it's so much to take out of COVID because so everyone literally around the world can relate to it. But everyone, and I mean each individual, walks away with their unique experience from it, right? So while like I've shared before, that in the beginning I was fussy about it, I complained about it so much, definitely thinking it was finna lift. I thought it was gonna be on for a little cute little couple months. We was gonna bust out in the summertime. Like, all right, cool. Then cancel spring. Here comes summer. Okay, that didn't happen. And then since about the summertime is when I started like really putting in work and doing stuff and pouring into myself and investing in myself and things like that. While that's my experience, and amongst other things, of course, to talk about, but then my neighbor, literally my next door neighbor, could be, they have a totally different experience. They could have started working real hard in the beginning and this and that. Now they fell off. Now they might be experiencing, here's a plug. Please keep special watch over all who you love, because I don't want to say over who you think would experience seasonal depression. We're in a very different field and space right now, right? It's not up to you to judge. Now, of course, if someone has confided in you and you know for sure that they are battling, have been battling, have an experience with depression in general, then that's, more of the person that you probably want to think to reach out to in this time, in this season. But it's everybody, because again, this is something that all of us, literally everyone across the world, around the world, is experiencing, and it's trauma. We are living in trauma right now, right? That's just the pandemic. What about everything else, y'all, that we have witnessed and observed and, sat through and voted in now? Okay, so I was trying to inch that in there. So that was traumatic. We all on the edge of our seats, biting. I was gonna make a joke because y'all see all my nails on y'all. Whatever, letting them breathe. But biting the tips of our nails, like, just in anticipation, on top of the blanket that we are all experiencing this world health crisis, this world pandemic. So just saying, right? A lot of stuff to unpack. I absolutely urge you to check on all who you love. Do some wellness checks. Mind you, what we've talked about before is that you don't have to make it, known that this is a wellness check. Hey, Aunt Bertha, this is a wellness check. You all right over there? You need some canned goods? Like, girl, I don't want to tell you I need some canned goods like that with that smoker's voice. Please. No, I don't need your canned goods now. Asking me like that. So, and that same token, I crack myself up, y'all, for real. But in that same token, it's also not on me to make you feel like it's a burden for you to lay, your stuff on me. It's always an exchange. It's a give and take, right? Because this is important work that we have to be doing right now. I said that. And right now we just have to decide to do the important work. We keep talking about the important work. We have to keep talking about it now because it's the encouragement for you to do it. If you haven't started doing it, for you to initiate it, right? Or to start doing it. And if you have been doing it, to continue to do so. To catch that breath you need, to, take that short break, that little rest that you need to rejuvenate and to press on, right? This is important work that we need. Helping and loving on one another. No, it's not hippie talk. I've been called and often referred to myself like the modern day hippie because I'm all about like peace and love, literally. But it's what we need. It's literally the change that we need in this world, not just America. Okay? But we have to do it intentionally. Right? Everything that we do, because there's a right and wrong way to do everything. I've said that 1 million trillion times in my life. That the work, so again, with the wellness calls, right? And checking on the people that I know and love, that it's not for me to make it feel like say if they have initiated the conversation, reached out to you. And for, I'm very careful as to when somebody says, they just, hey, right? I'm like, text or call, hey. Now, mind you, I could have just been waking up from a nap because I'm good for napping, okay? Or worse, fit to go down for a nap. Oh, Lord, right? But it's not my plate. Like giving, again, that's where that fine line is right there, like where it splits, boom, it's interchangeable, right? That it is also on me to do the work to self, on self to guard myself, right? It's on me to do that. So it's for you to find that balance, right? If it helps in the time where maybe this particular person is reaching out to you or that it's laid on your heart to reach out to. And like, oh, this person usually drains me. So let me guard myself. For me, I know certain people have crossed my mind, but I've been like, I know I'm doing assignments and I'm working on some stuff that I need to really, tie these loose ends. And so I'm like, I know that once I get on this phone call or something like that, or reach out to this person, it's going to be a distraction to me as far as like, I know I'm not going to be able to sit here and type and all that and be on the phone. Like, I know I'm not going to be able to do that. No, nothing against them, right? Because we said anything I might say, about myself doesn't necessarily mean I mean something against them. It just means I'm present and aware of what this could be. And so what happens is that, we want to make sure that we don't turn people off of seeking the help that they need. But then we'll swear, well, I reached out to such and such. Yeah, I reached out to her. She ain't even tell me. She ain't tell me she was going through all that. Did you create that space for her? Did you really leave a pure, safe haven for him to come to you, to open up? And then were you expecting it on your terms? Now I'm talking good today, y'all. I'm just saying, because then we'll be like, well, they didn't tell me then. Okay, well, that could have been they weren't ready to talk about that right then and there. People are going through their stuff, just like clearly you are, if you can cast that judgment, right? So it's to easy pace it, right? It's just treading easily. It's treading easily. You reach out to, that's all I said to y'all was to reach out to the people that you love. And I'll tell you why. So on Thanksgiving, that was last Thursday, I realized it was like Thanksgiving afternoon. I came to a halting realization, but a realization nonetheless, that I had been experiencing a depressive episode, is what I call it. I had realized that for I don't know how long prior to then, that just leading up to it, I had been, showing signs of like ways that I know that I was in, dealing with depression, um, in the past, like prior to that, right? Different depressive episodes. And like it was the lack of motivation. It was, I'll be honest, one of the things for sure, and I'm being honest and being vulnerable because I know that it's one of those things we don't like to talk about things that we know people may not understand. And so we don't want to share because we feel like, oh, you're not gonna get that. But what we do here on the BMX, we air it out. It's all raw and authentic material all the time, right? So truthfully, one of my things too is that I find myself like I don't want to shower as much. So I know like people are going to want to take that because the inner me wants to explain it so bad. Like, no, y'all, it doesn't mean I was in here like, ugh. But however you take it, and that's up to you. I'm telling you that I know that it'll be like, all right, I didn't shower yesterday. Probably showered the day before. All right, let me shower. Like, you know what I mean? Like just it was a thing. I was absolutely sleeping a lot more. Oh my lord. Oh my goodness. And that's why I don't want to say it's crazy that, but in lack of better words, it's crazy that I didn't pick up on it. I did not pick up on it. I was really battling depression. Um, and I figured, right? So in my own self-reflection, because this is where I said that you have to, what we were talking about earlier, that you have to be keep an open mind even though you're doing the work on self. That's why the self work isn't just by yourself. It's in alignment, right? It's in alignment. I'll be honest, it's not with the universe. It's not in alignment with the universe. It's not in alignment with the ancestors. You can call on them and talk to them too. But I promise you, and it's in alignment with God. Okay? Because he will help you to maintain an open heart, which then is interchangeable with the mind. Thank you to my conversation I was having earlier for that reminder. And so he will help you to also keep an open mind that as I'm doing all this work on self with him, so then it maintains your humility. That way I know that I'm not self-made. We're gonna get into that. We gotta get away from this self-made talk. I digress. But that, because I didn't do all this work on my own, I did it, with him, right? God helped me to work on myself and to get better here and this and the third, that I can then keep an open mind to hear other things. So I was doing so much work on self and I self-reflected and came to the conclusion that I was in a place of like I was really missing intimacy, all different, like a range. I'm talking about a huge array of intimacy, right? So like, I know a lot of us say things and just say it arbitrarily, like, oh, there's no meaning to it. But I mean, really, I mean everything that I say, like, swear. Um, and so when I say I'm a hugger, I really mean that. Hugs mean so much to me, right? So just for, embracing like others that you wouldn't necessarily kiss, because then if I'm in a relationship with you, whereas, kissing is a part of our relationship, that kissing is a huge thing to me too, right? But I'm not going to expect a kiss from someone that's not a part of our relationship, right? Our bond. So, I missed hugging. I thought it, and just in my thoughts, like, as time went on, that I thought about, like, man, when's the last time I actually kissed somebody? Oh my Lord. Like, ain't nobody kiss me? Whatever. I thought about, just different things, literally, like, I was like, okay, I get it. I get why people in relationships, you can call somebody and, just be that date, I think of a girl, right? That, oh, my boyfriend, and I just call him, we just breathe in because he feels like he has to be on the phone. You can't hang up on me, like that type thing. I was never really that girl. You live your life over there, I live mine, and then I don't know, wherever we connect, I guess, whatever. I hate issues, but um it was, just a matter of that, like, of just that person. And so I'll also even go further into my vulnerability now, my vulnerable moment that I'm having with you all, that I am a girl that, truthfully appreciates male presence, right? And I'm so grateful to the conversation I was having earlier because it feels good to hear, right? Somebody understand that that don't mean that I'm out here humping and want all the dick. Like, no, that's not what I mean by I appreciate male presence. And I even had to realize that that's not what I meant, right? So everybody, you go through your seasons, your phases, your this, and you're learning lessons, right? Um, but I missed that. And so I felt like and me missing that, I knew, but I'm also very catch this maturity, right? I knew that I recognized and acknowledged that I missed male presence. Then I also, even furthermore, I knew that I didn't want it from any and every, like, sure, if I hung around or talked to my dad, sure, okay. Been down to my brother's house around all of my nieces and nephews and my sister-in-law and all that, sure, okay. And then you recognize like, oh, there's other male presence that I, might want, right? Or might seek. Never have I ever reached out to, look at what any past holes, however y'all put it, right? Because I knew that I didn't want that presence either. I wanted presence that was good for me, that was soothing to my soul. And I know that I do not currently have any connection with any man that would give me that. I'm happy about that, right? As far as I'm not, and what I just said, that I'm not connected to any man that cannot give me that. Until a man that I have that connection with comes, then that's the man I would want to be connected with, if that makes sense, right? So, I just missed that. And so, you get to think like, oh man, that's really cute. And I had my man and we're just sitting here and just watching TV or whatever, right? It's literally in my household. It is me, my daughter, my 3-year-old daughter, and the cat. He's the man of the house right now, right? The cat. And so big Maui. Okay. But that was it. And so I assumed that my, depressive state was coming from that because I had recognized like, oh, I really wish I had somebody just wrapped arms around me, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I never once, truly believed in like, people talk about cuffing season and how people will feel, but seasonal depression is real, right? And so I believe that that's probably what I was experiencing. And on top of all of that, anytime, right, that I find myself in this state, that I alluded to, missing my brother still, like it just always. And I'll be honest that he was my male presence. He was my male presence because he was my person too. I mean, literally without ever even having to ask, he was the one to call me, or I could call, or, just we linked up. I'd come over his house, he'd come over mine, just whatever, right? Run errands together. I don't know. Just we always went on adventures, like just anything, right? We really did so much together. And so even like once he was dating, and so kind of like, it's a little more distance, I guess. I get it. Whatever. I gave him his space, whatever. He never gave me my space when I was dating though. So it was one-sided. Neither here nor there. But my brother, like I said, whom I lost last year, was my person for that, right? And so, that easily took me into a place too. So like it hiked up my grief, or I not even hiked, but spiked my grief, right? During this time, and it just all came crashing on Thanksgiving afternoon. Like when I say just all of a sudden, I know I was talking to my sister and I went to lie down again in the bed, and it sounds sadder than it was, but I'm just sharing that like from my bedroom door, I could see my daughter's door into her bedroom. And so she looked and she said, Mommy, you laying down again? I was like, oh God, I'm failing you, right? But you're not. If anybody else has experienced this or is experiencing this, you're not failing it, baby. You're not failing that, baby. You have to take care of you. And so I'd lie down and I had put my phone on the charger, I remember, and my phone on the pillow. I'm talking to my sister, yada, yada, yada. And so get off the phone with her. And I knew I was like, I just want to go over and go to sleep. Like, that's what I want to do. And so I text my brother's family because they're family to me, right? And there was the only place we were really going to go on Thanksgiving. And so I texted to see what time, it was dinner. And by this time it's like 2 something. So like I said, afternoon. So they said like we're saying grace at 4:30. All right. I need to get us up, get us ready. I needed to shower. Okay. By that time I was a little musty. I ain't gonna lie. A little musty. Just a little bit. So I was like, oh man. So when I say at least I got the I don't know, the energy just to give that one extra roll instead of just that roll to lay down. I rolled one more time to get up and sit on the opposite side of the bed that I was on. And when I sat up, just pouring out, I'm just like, oh. So my daughter comes in there, she's just playing around at first, she's all in my mirror and all that. And she looked, Mommy, what's wrong? And I said, well, I'm sad. Immediately she was like, Uncle Stephen, yeah, it's okay, Mommy. It's okay. But she gives me back all that I pour into her when she has her moments of missing him. And I worked through that. I got through that. I didn't want to go down to their house so full, but I was, because I wanted to go out to his gravesite and all. I didn't make it before I went to their house because I didn't want to be late. And just hugged his mother and just wept all up in her in the nape of her neck. Is that what that's called right there? All that right there. Just left it all right there, like all of it. But I'm so grateful because I'm just grateful to have been in their presence. So of course, I'll feel an extra sense of his presence when I'm around them as well. And so all of that to say, right, that when I say, and I'm not even saying this as something I'm proud of, but it's reality that no one, and I mean no one that I had been in contact with all during this time of that, I guess, depressive episode, right? Or even on that day of, no one that I had been in contact with knew what I was experiencing. Because again, I really didn't know, right? Even my sister that I had just spoken with, I had just gotten off the phone with her. That's how easily it is, and not to scare anyone, but to talk about the severity of depression and even seasonal depression, right? So we go look at the statistics and all of that. That's how easy it is so when we consider suicide, right? And I'm not saying, because I feel like I would admit to y'all if I was, right? So I'm not saying that I had considered it, this time around or anything like that, but it makes me think of that's how easy it is for someone to be like, I was just talking to that person, and then, right? So when I say, and I'm also not putting this on my sister either. So I know we talked later on, and I remember thinking her like, you don't know, you just gave me some time today, and we were just on the phone for hours. Child, at some point we were just breathing. I don't know, and that's never like the nature of our conversations. We're always really talking and pouring into each other. And so but I'm not putting it on my sister because really she would have known. I will admit I'm good to put on a good ear, a good face, and all that. So you have to be able to read through that. And sometimes you can't, and you have to still be okay with that too, right? But it is at least still on you. The only thing I think that is for you to feel bad about if you hear that somebody's going through something, or that it was worst case scenario, right? When it comes to depression, that, that you felt the need to reach out to that person and you did. That's about the only time that I really believe that there's something for you to take away from that. Like, oh man, it's not for you to harp on it so heavily that it, sends you into a place, but it is just absolutely something for you to reflect on. It's important. So that is definitely my appeal to each of you to reach out to who you know and who you love. Like I said, it's not for you to decide on who, you believe could be or would be experiencing seasonal depression, because truthfully, all of us are dealing with trauma right now. So that's enough to say, that somebody could be dealing with it, not even worse than, but just more than, some of us. And it just depends on the day. Right. So what I'm saying is that like seriously, like for real, that's just like, sorry, before I get into that, because I just thought about this. That's just like, as we are on our, our conference calls or our Zoom calls and things like that, the person that, you might have not had the best encounter with, right? As far as work, or, I don't know, you call and make an appointment or whatever the case may be, that it's on you. It's on you in a way, at the least. That's why it's really on you to cover them, right? Because you had that encounter with them for a reason. not everybody on that call or not everybody that they encountered all throughout the day might have had that experience with him, but you did. So then it's on you. So that is really why it really tugs on your belief, right? Your belief in God, belief in Christ to take before the throne this person. It doesn't mean you got to call Brenda out on the call and be all ignorant, okay, Brenda, you ain't gotta be. It's not necessarily the case, right? You can do it with class. But immediately, I'm the person to sit there and pray, like, okay, this the name of you, right? Okay, Lord, I don't know what's going on with Miss Shirley, but go ahead and cover her. Da, 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 da. And when I tell you, in my experience, some of the best experiences that I've had in having to, run errands, sit through somebody's office or something, that it was like I would always get called by the mean person, like the person that you're like, oh, please don't let it be done. Oh God, it's Miss Brenda. Jesus. Oh God, it's Miss Cheryl Dean. Oh no, right? And then it turns out to be like, wow, this was amazing, right? Just saying. All that to say that when you're on these meetings and all, that it's on you, like I said, to cover them. And so in order to be able to do that and for that to work, right, in your favor and how, God says he'll make everything work for your good, right? Even the bad, the ugly, and indifferent, right? That you have to align yourself to. So again, you have to do the work on yourself to do the thing. So I don't like to just make the same stuff. Oh, do the work on yourself. That's what you're supposed to do, right? I like to try to help and guide through that and what I've learned to what that means. So when I say earlier when we were talking about like running errands, right? I said something also like running errands. When it was talking about like pouring out, right? Oh, when we were talking about work rather. And so I had the idea back then. I'm glad I just thought about it. Of when you're giving more energy into the outside factors, like I said, like work earlier, but also even just running errands. And so running errands, like even going to the market. And so that, so especially for my parents or just people that have other people in your household, or even if you don't, I would assume that it still goes the same way. You run to the market, that you've gone through, say if you're doing your marketing. So right now, I don't know about y'all, when I go to the market, I'm trying to get everything I need because I'm trying to make this go to the market as less as possible these days, right? And so walking through that takes enough. There's other people in there. Again, everybody's dealing with trauma in a different way. Yada, right? Just the stress of and anxiety of being around people, right? And again, it's for the people that, not doing the pee pod and all that. I'm not there yet. I got to grow up. I'm going to get there one day. But so you're walking through the market and all that. Again, you take all the time. So you've been out for a while. All of this is on your mind now. And so you get everything. So now you got everything bagged. It's in your cart. You got to get from the cart to the car. Or if you, not driving, Lord have mercy. I could not imagine, right? My heart definitely goes to you, right? So get everything, wait on the bus, get on the bus, or get everything, you get home. You got to unload the car, walk, from the bus stop to the house, all the bags or whatever. Take everything in, put everything away, right? Okay, sanitize in there, okay? Put everything away and all that, and just, you're tired. Like I said, for parents, I'm speaking from my experience, and it's immediately we got to eat this and that, and okay, this and okay, just bath and right? Whole time before you went to the market, you might not have eaten. Or you may have eaten earlier, but in that all that time that it takes to do that, that was a good chunk of time where you should have eaten in between there as well. So when did you do that? It's taking care of yourself. Those things matter. So if it turns into, okay, next time we make a COVID market run, we're going to take me a little snack. Okay. One I can just slide up under my mask and chew on and just nibble on and just keep something on my belly. So that way I'm not walking through that. Because first of all, we all know anyway, it's like, I ain't gonna say unhealthy, but it's kind of crazy to go to the market and be hungry because y'all know how that go. Okay. You either getting the stuff that you don't really need or want. You can't really think straight, just whatever the case may be. Are you budgeting in the way you plan to budget? Yada, yada, yada. And so, but when it comes to like how things work and in alignment with who's that person that you might keep bumping into, or every time you turn on, they're right behind you or something like that. And not in this way of like, you can tell he a creep and he trying to get your number. I ain't talking about that. Or baby girl see that you got on this good suit and you looking good and, she might feel like this her come up, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like how you just realize up and down the aisles or whatever, and you're going to go get your stuff and you just keep having to run into this person some kind of way. I truly believe that that's a sign. And now, am I saying you're supposed to grab that face and start spitting all in their ear and pray all over no, I'm not, especially not in COVID. But that's a person that you clearly need to cover. And so the thing to keep in mind is that the work that you're doing on self is so very important because of how you're building. It says to build the word, right? The Bible says to build his temple. Somewhere else in the Bible also talks about us being the temple. So it's building on yourself, right? How dare you, build on anything else and build up somebody else's temple without building on the temple of the Lord, right? And so for a lot of people that need the Lord, that need help, that need, that strength, that encouragement, whatever the case may be, that extra push, that motivation, a lot of those people, and that's believers and non-believers, believe it or not, don't necessarily go to church for that encouragement, for that strength that they need. You are that representation. And that's you, as in the person that is working on yourself so much that, because God will use everybody. He will use anybody, right? And so you might be trying to figure out if you want to get back in the church, or, if you want to really turn your life back over to Christ, or to, whatever, right? To repent, or whatever the case may be. You might be just trying to figure that out, and he still will use you, because hopefully somebody is, recalling like, oh man, I was just in the market earlier, or the other day, or whenever, and I kept running to this guy that, I don't know, it just was on me. Like he might have, I don't know, couldn't tell if I don't know. It's just on my mind. Cover him, because you didn't do whatever might have been there. It could have been coffee. You don't know, cover his groceries. Who knows, right? It doesn't always mean that either, but it's not for me to tell you that part. That's the part I can't tell you. What I can tell you is that meant something. So I hope that if you think of somebody that you have recently encountered somewhere, right, that you may not have necessarily encouraged, because, especially we're in Baltimore, so we think that it's okay not to talk to people. Hence why my platform is always to push us to get to just talking to each other, embracing each other. Can't hug and all that now, got a little elbow thing, I guess, but, COVID really done something. I can't get over that. My first lady and I have done it. That is the cutest thing. Y'all don't know her. She's the sweetest thing ever. But do a little elbow thing with her. It's like, girl, stop, man. You all hip. But whoever you've encountered somewhere, that it was for you to, either encourage, to give them that push in the spirit. And again, you could be somebody that is trying to figure out your own faith. God still can and will use you if he so choose, right? So it's always about working on inner self to be able to be in position to do that, to be blessed, to be the blessing. And so all of this, right? What am I saying? In our last moments together, right? What am I saying? You have to make up in your mind to shut out all of the other voices of distraction. You have to. There's the voice of COVID-19. So there's the COVID of anxiety that comes along with that. The traumatic voice that might be triggering some unaddressed trauma before. Some things that have been normalized that we might just joke about. I mean, there's tons of other voices. And that's not necessarily, for somebody that's battling, is that schizophrenia, right? Or oh Lord, personality disorders, right? Like that's not what that means when they say other voices. So calm down, don't self-diagnose. And also, if you feel like anything, go on and reach out to somebody. But the point is, it's about shutting out those voices. Shutting out those voices so that way you can focus on, right? Focus on what your spirit has been told, right? It's important. I don't know how else to put that. It's so important. Again, this is the important work that all of us have to do to see the change that we so desperately need and deserve, and that will come one day. It'll come. I pray that all of us, or I pray that we, as many of us as possible, can be around to see that. But if not, we definitely need to plant the seed for it today. And so, it working on yourself so much that you start to hear more from God, right? So he's speaking direct to your spirit. It's not this burning bush, that tells you to take your shoes off now. That was in the Bible. That's cool. If God so choose, he might, talk to people like that again in this day. But for real, he knows how we are in this day. Maybe that's the type of, like examples and the type of communication and correspondence that they needed back then. For us, it's really like I'm looking in the mirror, maybe fixing my hair or something. I'm trying to figure out how much dandruff y'all can see that'll drop onto my black shirt before I picked it up and realized all the cat hair on it. And God will speak to you and say, like, oh, make sure you say this or make sure this, right? Who knows? But you have to be able to shut out all the other voices so that way it does not distract you from the voice that you need to hear in order for you to receive the blessing, to be the blessing, right? And so it might even be, in order for you, of course, then to be that beacon of light, right? Because who are you called to be that beacon of light for? Who are you being called to encourage? Someone needs, that, again, you realize that you're running in and out of different aisles in the market. That might have been somebody just considering suicide. But they keep side-eyeing you, right? How about the one person that has all the snarky remarks, like I said, on the Zoom calls, because they're terrified when her abusive husband comes home, that he might be back home any minute now. Yeah, she keep making snarky remarks. The thing is that each scenario that somebody might be experiencing, right, if it's a not so good one, they may not necessarily convey their need to you in a way that you would receive it as a need. Now, by all means, I am not, first of all, I'm not a therapist by any means. I'm not a psychiatrist, a psychologist, or anything. But I am very passionate about the human brain, the mind, how it works. I'm very passionate about mental health. And so, and putting it into practical terms, right? Making common sense out of it. And so I think of it as, the way when I'm going through something and how hurt I am, and depending on how deeply or whatever, I may not necessarily, y'all, I just admitted that I may not even say it at all, right? So if I do express it, it definitely may not be in the way in which you're like, oh, that's what's wrong with me. I might not do that, right? So people in need may not necessarily express, like I said, their need to you in the way in which you think they should. That's what I wanted to say. You don't have to. You don't get to have a preference on how I act my inner feelings, act out my inner feelings. You don't get to have a preference, honestly. One thing I can't stand is in grief, how Black people will ask, how she do at the funeral, girl. If Sister Soldier did cartwheels down the main aisle, then that's what she did to get it out. I could care less. Let her get it out. Right? Again, what is all this, Benia, right? I'm glad you asked. Do the necessary work on you, right? And within your spirit so that you can actually do the work and be good unto others. The work that it entails, the work that it takes, right? To encourage others, to uplift others, to empower others. I wouldn't be able to talk to y'all if I hadn't done the work on myself. To be able to sit here and tell y'all about a recent depressive episode, yeah. Be all vulnerable and stuff, tell y'all about my stuff, y'all, please. To even try so hard to create a space where you all feel okay to open up. And I know it's a big old space because it's, out there, in the world and internet, wherever which you're watching and tuning in. But I still, I believe in the energy, right, of putting out there and praying over the show often, of that I would want you all to, to feel that you can share, right? And so again, I wouldn't be able to do this if I hadn't done the necessary work for myself, right? Um, it doesn't mean it doesn't mean that nothing else will rise up against you. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that, you know, it just doesn't mean that. What it does mean is that you'll be equipped to handle it when it comes, if it comes back around again, right? It means that you'll be in a place where you can recognize and acknowledge and embrace it when it does, and you'll know what you've been through, right? And how you responded then, the work you're putting in now, and that you'll know that you're expected to have a better, response to it. You'll respond better because you'll know better and you'll be better, right? Um, Everyone does not have to go out and start nonprofits. Not what I'm saying. This is not your call to the altar, to glory, to, go out and do that. You don't even have to take to the streets and protest, right? Now I'm not telling you not to. If it's so moved and it's in you to do so, it's in your heart, do it, right? But for those that are moved, because maybe it's just not your cards, right? But for it, if you think that you're not moved to start a nonprofit or to take to the streets or protest or whatever the case, any of these big moves that you see people making on behalf of, the greater good, it doesn't mean that you're off the hook and that there's no divine work for you to do. The best thing that you can do for your family, for your neighborhood, your city, state, country, us as a people, and most importantly, yourself, is heal. I need you to heal. As your sister, I need you to heal. As a human being, I need you to heal. My daughter needs you to heal. She may never meet you, but she needs you to heal. Right? Animal lovers, where we at out here? My cat needs you to heal. Be a better person, right? What you can do to change the big, huge, dying world around you is to address your traumas and to work to be delivered from your vices. It's important work out here for us to do, y'all. I mean it. Okay? Got it? You sure? I'm thanking you all in advance for doing that work, because it's important, because it's needed, it's necessary. Redundancy intended. I love you. I acknowledge your presence. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for at least considering to start anew and do better, in this moment and moving forward. Okay? You got me? Because I got you. All right? Okay. As long as it's in there. It's been another episode of the B Mix right here on BeExposedRadio.com. Until next week, be the mix that you are.